Yes, everybody, it's that time of the week again, bitch. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Old School, New School Comedy Podcast. And I am your host, Christy Miller. And in the studio with me this week, this fabulous decor, the studio, with me this week is definitely old school, like one of me. Like, yes, I'm tired of these new kids. I'm punching them all in the face. She's an OG. She's hilarious. She writes the segment called Real News with a Z on the Politipod podcast. You can also hear her every Monday night on John Fugulsang's podcasts. And, oh God, I just blanked the name.
No, that's Handsome Monday. Yes,
that's Handsome Mondays.
When I was John Fugulsang.
Yes, it's Handsome Monday.
On Sirius XM.
See how I remember that? You didn't put that in your bio? Twat. Anyway, but she's so funny, and she's just an honor to have her here. And I introduce you all to Rhonda Hansome.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Is it though?
No, it really is.
Aww.
It really is.
I really adore you.
Oh,
and I
thank
just
you.
think you're amazing. And I remember seeing you on Arsenio Hall.
Oh my God.
With her Pointer Sisters hair. Yes. I trained your, when I was a trainer, I trained your hairdresser from that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He lives here in the neighborhood.
Well, I loved that hairdo because it was so distinctive. And
It was so incredible. And it was so Pointer Sisters, very take control, very
Patti
I'm
LaBelle
here. Yes.
And Weed Whacker. It looked like it had been done with Weed Whacker, but it was so chic at the same time.
I was so jealous because I remember I grew up in California in the Bay Area, and I was the white girl with all my friends, and it was I was like, I want your hair. I want because my hair's so flat and lifeless.
Well,
my chest.
We have that that sculptable hair. We do. We have fabulous hair.
I used to tell my best friend at the time, I say, you just wake up and your hair's done.
It's true.
I gotta wash it, comb it, brush it, curl it, style it, freeze it, just so it looks flat.
But you always look beautiful, and you are the strongest comedian,
strongest female comedian,
in the business, and I admire and envy you for that.
Well, it's never too late, darling.
Well, okay.
Yeah. See, you're already punching the brick wall there. Oh God, Rhonda Hansome, I'm so happy you're in the studio, and I want to talk about, you've been in the game for how long?
Too long.
Okay, we'll be right back. That's our show, folks.
Way too long.
So when Jesus was coming up, did you open for him? Good night, thank you.
It was actually, I started in the 80s. I was on vacation in Montreal. I went to Toronto and all around, and we went to comedy clubs. And I saw all of these white guys standing there talking about Star Trek. And I said, hey, I could do that. And I'm funnier than Star Trek. And I started in 1980s. And here I am.
And guess what? Those same white guys talking about Star Trek are still there. They never change. It's so sad. Well, I'm so happy you started comedy because you're so great and you're so refreshing, and it's just like a nice, because see, these new kids, maybe the kids today, I'm turning, and I'm 54, and I'm totally turning into the get off my property bitch kind of comic. like get off my stage.
With kids.
What's with these kids? I mean, but I love them. I mean, I do really well with the kids, because I'm just a piece of shit, and I talk so much trash, and I talk like them, and I act like them, even though I'm 100. But I love listening, especially to women of our certain age, of our age group and higher, and also men too. I love hearing old guys too. I love old comics because we're so seasoned.
Yes.
We've lived. And we lived before all this technology. There wasn't even electricity when we started.
Before the digital age.
Yeah, yes. Like Mitzi Shore would give us the light with a candle. A lantern. Oh, get off. You got 2 minutes. But it's so fun to listen to old stories and to hear just life, because these kids don't know anything about life.
They don't know about life, and it's really challenging for them because a lot of them have been caught up first in the lockdown. A lot of them have been caught up in the digital age where everything is on the phone. Some of them don't even know how to socialize with each other. They don't know how to write. 100%. They don't know how to socialize, and they were kept from certain rites of passage during the lockdown.
Yep.
So I give them a wide berth. I do give that to them, and then I call them jackasses.
I gotta say, she's so much nicer than I am. I'm like, quick comedy now. Yesterday.
But that you have to start someplace. I know when I started, and I started at the Improv, the Improv right on 44th Street, and the original Catch a Rising Star on the Upper East Side.
Yes.
And I know when I started, I didn't know what I was talking about. I just knew that I wanted to have the mic, I wanted to be in the light, and I wanted to make people laugh. And you have to have time to season, to find your voice.
It takes. I always tell young comics when they ask me for advice, treat your comedy like it's a child. You've given birth. So you're doing what, comedy, a year and a half? What do a year and a half year olds talk about? They're barely standing up on their own. They can't form full sentences yet. So it's all baby talk. And then when it's like
all about what comes out of their diaper.
We'll be right back. And believe me, it's on the stage. And but yeah, it's like, I feel like we've completely regress back to cavemen days because these kids don't know how to communicate. Fire bad, and they're completely like chest pounding,
You're right. And you know what I've been doing? Mm-hmm. I have been trying to reach out to some of these young people, some comics, but just young people in general on TikTok. Mm-hmm. I've been saying, look, I'm here if you want to talk, you want to ask questions, you want to know my opinion from the previous century. I'm here. And that's why my hashtag is not your grandma's comic.
So you have your hashtag, not your grandma's comic, and I have mine, strongest female comedian. I think I'm gonna change it to biggest cunt on earth. Hi guys, it's me. But it's crazy because we play these clubs and it's like it's completely changed, which is fine. I love change. I love evolving. I love moving to a new level. I like opening my brain, and some of these old comics can't get out of their own way, and they get angry and they start pointing fingers, and it's like, well, dude, life changes, life evolves, we progress, we move,
I am so with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even though I am from the previous century, I said I'm going to keep a foot in the future. That's why I'm trying to stay on social media, and I also coach a lot of young comics who are coming along. Mm-hmm. And I try to see what's going on in the world, even if I don't like it, even if it scares me. I want to be aware. I
always be aware. I keep my head on a swivel.
Well, seriously. You gotta in New York.
Actually, I feel safer in here than I do when I go on the road.
Really?
Sure got a hurty mouth, boy. It's like I go to some rural parts. I'm a little afraid. I'm like, what year is it?
You can take them.
1798? Oh, this is scary. But yeah, it's funny because I like to hear what's going on. I like to keep up with the kids too and listen to because I'm a big kid at heart. And I love the fact that I can go into these clubs, even though I'm, 20 and 30 years older than these comics, that I can still relate to them. And the audience is still like, I have a lot of young fans that love me. They're like, you're just so, like, you're the crazy aunt I never had, the one that would buy them booze at the gas station.
I don't mind being that.
I love being that, actually.
Yeah.
I'm like Fran Drescher. I'm the cool nanny.
Yes, you are.
I'm like, I'm Mr. Sheffield. Like, are their dads rich? I'm banging them all, sweetie, with a baseball bat. But, but I love it. And, like, sometimes there's like, I know a lot of comics our age that do mostly like casinos or, banquet halls or older crowds or cruise ships. And it's weird. I can't relate to that mindset But it's funny when I do rooms that have a lot of elderly people in it, I bond with them so hard. And it's like, I go, okay, so there isn't a demographic. I can't.
One of us.
One of us.
But the walkers.
Yeah.
One of us.
Come on, bitch. Put the good tennis balls on. We're going out tonight. They slide on the carpet better. But it's funny because it's, you know, I love everybody. You know, even though I'm a big piece of shit, I love everybody. Because I just like to break balls and have a good time.
Well, but that's your thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one of the wonderful things about being in this business so long, when you do find what your thing is.
Yeah.
You know, and you can relax in it, lean into it, you know, just love being there and not feel insecure about going on stage.
Yeah.
This and saying that, I really, it bothers me when I hear some younger comics, even those who have been doing it for a while, talk about imposter syndrome. And I'm going, geez, imposter syndrome, you're living in this century. You know, you've got to be real. You know, how can you not be real to yourself? That's why I love talking to them, to say, you have got to connect to yourself. And when we are on that stage, we can now say, speaking from the gut, from you know, and with the full chest, with our own voices. I love that.
See, that is so beautifully put, because I say the same thing. You gotta stay present. You know, that's why they call it the present. It's a gift. Stay aware, stay awake. Like, not like stay woke. No, it's just like, be aware of who you are. Be aware of how much space you take up on this planet. And just know who you are and be comfortable with all the nooks and crannies and the awful tidbits and the good stuff and, you know, the lumps and the bumps. Own who you are, and you can do anything on this planet.
It's true.
And a lot of people stay in that, they get into that alternate universe in their brain, that false narrative that they've talked to themselves, that they've convinced themselves is real. And it's like, you're never going to get out of your own way. And you're never going to grow, and you're never going to progress, whether on stage or even off stage.
Yeah, and
we'll be right back.
No, but it's true. The present is all we have.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what's exciting about when we're on stage.
Yes.
Because, you know, we're live, we're there with the mic and the light, and we are dealing with what is going on. Hopefully it's not a heckler or the building being on fire or something.
See, those are my two favorite things that happens. But see, like with my act, you know, because I do a lot of crowd, you know, I have all my bits, but I personalize it for each crowd, you know, so it makes it feel like it's their own show. It's just how I am, because I like to connect to people. I don't like to talk at them. I like to talk with them. Like, I'll go into the audience, you know, metaphorically, and sit in the audience with them like we're all hanging out at a party. And so I will go, I love when the craziest shit happens, and I encourage people to get into it. You know, I love I like the feedback, you know, but I like the interactions, whether it's good or bad. It's fun to me, because then it's like, it tests my skills as a performer, that I can handle any situation on the planet. If there's an elephant in the room, I'm riding it out the door. Hey, sweetie, I had an elephant in my tour, my farewell tour. It was called Chaz. Anyway, sorry. I go into Cher when I go crazy.
But that's true. But it not only tests you as a comedian, it tests you as a human being, because when you go and sit with your audience, sometimes before the show, or you're listening to them as they're coming in, you are getting their vibe.
Yeah.
And that's a very important thing in what we do, you know, to understand who's in the room. Just know who's in the room.
I love getting to the show right when it starts, even if I'm closing or if I'm headlining. I like to be there for the entire show, because I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm left out, but I also hate, and I'm sure you, because, you know, we're cut from the same cloth. I hate when every comic goes up and goes, how's everybody doing? Bitch, haven't you listened for the last 5 comics?
Yes.
They're great, asshole.
They answered.
You know? Yeah. Or, hey, where are you from? Maybe ask the MC if you don't, like, if you're late to your spot or you're going from spot to spot to spot. Ask the MC, how's the crowd? Where's everybody? Oh, that, because I do it all the time. Even if I'm coming in later and I could get there after, like, if I'm doing another spot or whatever reason, and I get there and the show's going, I'll ask the host. I'll say, All right, tell me about the crowd. Okay, well, that group's from Texas, that one's from Sweden, this one's from here, there.
Drunk
Great.
bridesmaids.
Yeah, that's the whores, and these are the uptight, stuffy people that haven't laughed once. Great, now I know the demographic. Now I can listen to whatever the previous comic is doing, and I can take all that information and not waste anybody's time, because I don't want to waste my time going, dude, where are you from? What do you do? What's your name? How old are you? You know, it's just like, I can't.
But that takes time to learn, or either someone coming over to tell you, listen, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
It really is, it's experience. And,
Yeah.
And Lord, do we have a lot of that.
Ciao, between her and I.
We do. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I love experience. I love seasoned. I love all of that. So, with that being said, you are a big part of Carol Montgomery's Funny Woman of a Certain Age.
I love that. I was on the first show that she did of that.
The very first special.
Judy Gold, Janine Garofalo. And I mean, it was just fantastic. It was part of a festival. And I love that I was part of something that it has grown to be so successful for her. I mean, she is really...
I'm really proud of her.
Can I say boss bitch? I don't know.
You can say cunt, fuck, whore, skank, boss bitch. Honey, we don't censor here.
And I was able to do a lot of those shows, and I'm part of the residency at the Crane Theater.
Yep.
And so I was part of that.
I love that. Yeah, no, it's a great thing. I did the Crane Theater once with her, and but I guess I'm not their cup of tea.
Well,
for the brand.
It's changed over. It's changed hands. The Crane Theater has changed.
Oh yeah, no, not them. I loved them. No, I'm just saying for the brand. I'm not part of the franchise.
No worries.
Yeah,
no
I'm not nice enough. You see what I'm doing here? I'm too much of a piece of shit. That's all right. I'm gonna do piece of shits on tour. Are you a degenerate? Come on in.
The floaters, the floating turrets on
yes.
tour.
The baby Ruths. That's a Caddyshack reference, people. Did you know that? All right, cool. I always look behind me off camera. That's all the invisible people in the room. But yeah, it's a fantastic thing because again, women. Because I'm over 50, you might be over 50. I don't know yet.
Just a tad.
Just a wee bit. No, you look fantastic. We both do, darling. Hello.
We better.
Hello.
We better. But talking about these great women in comedy, I have to give props to Joanna Briley, who founded Black Women in Comedy Laugh Fest.
What she's done. Like, she makes me want to be, like, I always wanted to be a black woman anyway, but she makes me want to be a black comic. Like, I'm like, I want to do that. That looks so fun.
She's a force of nature.
Yeah,
and I am so proud to be part of the Black Women in Comedy Laugh Fest. And we'll be coming up in February, March, linking Black History Month and Women's History Month. I love
that. That's perfect timing.
Yeah.
That's so great. No, Joanna Briley's done so much for Black women in comedy, and it's so beautiful to see, and especially too with women in comedy or Black women in comedy. But then when you get to be a certain age, what I was starting to say, it was like the stage time really dries up.
Yes, it does.
Like our vaginas.
I didn't want to say.
Oh, honey, let it out, honey. Let it out. This is where we let it all hang out. We go braless, underwearless. We don't do shit. We let it all hang.
Dry
here.
like Lake Mead. Yes.
Lake Mead. But it's really crazy because I've had a comedy club in the city tell me, like, the booker doesn't work there anymore, but tell me, and they don't exist anymore, which is really funny. And karma is that I'm too old for their lineup. And I was like, excuse me? Yeah, you're just too old.
Thanks for the honesty. Oh my God.
Yeah, really? Even though I just murdered your room and the kids after me couldn't follow, but I'm too old. All right, yeah, I'm too good. Okay, all right, whatever.
That's
your club.
Strange thing, and I cannot imagine anyone saying that to you. But I do know that there are people young, not as seasoned as us, who might not be able to follow you. Of course,
the white people seasoning
when you do your thing. But also, there are a lot of people, I think, who have been doing their thing on the internet, and they really don't understand what's happening in that live situation and how to handle it and how to.
Yeah, it's all comes from experience. Because I remember when I started at the Comedy Store in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got made a paid regular, I told Mitzi, put me, because we had continuous comedy from 8 to 2. And it was a comic every 15 minutes, pass the baton. Jeff Scott at the time, God rest his soul, was the showrunner and the piano player. He kept the times, lit the comics, or the cover booth lit. Jeff ran the show and kept everything going and would tell us who was next, and we would just tag team, right? So the headliner always went on at 10. And they got 30 minutes as opposed to 15 minutes, but they'd always do an hour and 15, hour and a half. I think Eddie Griffin's still on stage from 1997. And so I would ask, and that was always the death spot because their name was on the marquee. They did the full time. They would bring the people in. So I always asked Mitzi for that death spot right after them when everybody's getting up to leave because they don't give a shit anymore. They've been there for 2.5, 3 hours. It's a long show.
Yes.
And when they're getting up and leaving, and I would love that death spot because it taught me how to handle anything.
You're working a muscle.
Yeah. And so like following guys like Joe Rogan, who would dry hump a stool for 1 hour and 20 and murder. Carlos Mencia going, fuck, every 5 seconds for 1.5 hours murdering. Dom Irera just crushing. Dice coming in and crushing.
Well, that was my thing at the Comedy Store. I had to follow Andrew Dice Clay, and I said, okay, I'm ready for this.
That's right. You run it.
And I started right where he ended. I said, I'm not going to fuck around with this crap.
No.
I started right where he ended, and then I slid into my own material.
Yeah.
And it really is exercising a muscle.
And that's a skill.
Yeah.
And it's a huge skill to have. And it's like, so doing that all that time, I would just ride that wave, and I learned how to ride that wave in and take it into late night Comedy Store. So when I did that, it got me strong quick. So then opening for Paul Mooney for 12 years here at Caroline's.
What a master technician, master comedian, master writer.
He was the professor. The professor's on stage, darling. And he's the legend, and he's like, it's just, I was so, people, and I always tell people, I'm like, it kind of hurt my career working with him all those years because
why?
Because guilty by association. Because, as he got older, because Mooney never had a filter. He told you
exactly. But that was his thing.
Yeah. He told you, even off stage.
What did that have to do with you?
Guilty by association. Because I worked with him for so long. Oh, you're Paul Mooney's. Yeah, you're going to be too rough for our rooms.
Yeah.
And you know what? A big comedy club here in the city, when I moved here, and I'd been here like a year or two, and I went in there, and they said that Paul Mooney wasn't enough to get as a referral. I had to get somebody like Jim Norton or one of those guys to refer me, or Rich Voss, or one of them. And I went,
I'm not going to say racism. I'm not going to say it. Racism.
Yeah, and I went, how is Paul Mooney not a good enough reference? He's the best reference you could ever have.
Yes, he's written for everybody. And
he's the comics comic. He's who we go to. He's our Yoda, He's our Confucius.
I miss him. I really do.
I miss him. He was like a dad to me.
I came to him late in comedy. I really didn't know him, and the first time I saw him, he scared the crap out of me. I didn't know what was happening. It was really quite frightening to me because I had never seen anybody speak so frankly, so clearly,
and so freely,
so confidently about what was on their mind and still be funny. I mean, it was great. At
the Comedy Store, like Scott Day, our old talent coordinator, who's the greatest, and he was like, yep, every Friday night and Saturday night in the main room, Mooney's closing because he'll have a new half hour every week because the news, and every week Mooney would have a new half hour. And it was
amazing.
It was phenomenal. And then it would just build and build. And then when we go on the road, he would do 2 hours, 3 hours, and it was just like nonstop murder.
That's one of the things that I like now. I am writing so much more. I'm really getting a kick out of that.
Isn't it fun?
Yes, yes,
You
it
know,
is.
I'm like unlocking new levels,
Yeah.
and because you never stop growing. That's the beauty of this. Like I hate these comics. Oh, you know, I call them the cult, like CULT, the cult 45. The ones that write 45 minutes and it worked for them in the 90s and the early 2000s, and they haven't written anything since.
But that's the way it was in the old days. For I think for about 80% of the comedians, because the internet wasn't there. You could do your act
For years.
You could
Yep.
do, and you would go from country club to the Catskills or
Yep.
to a casino
Yep.
or a cruise ship, and people would not have seen you. But
Yep.
now everybody has access to everything all the time,
Yeah,
and you really have to be refreshing.
yeah, yeah. No, it's 100%, and it's like, but what's wrong with writing more than that 45?
Well,
Like even when I started, I didn't understand it. Like, how could you not write? How do you stay stuck in that same shit over and over?
but sometimes you're trying to figure out your timing on
Yeah,
those things.
of course.
What's the best punchline? How you change a word here or there? The nuances.
That's different.
of
That's
it.
different.
Yeah,
That's different. That's different. That's like you have that tight 45 that you've been doing for years and it works, and you kind of phone it in because you know it's inside out and backwards. But it's like, and then they stick to that, and then they wonder why no one's booking them again. Because I'm like, well, people have seen it.
They've seen it. Yeah.
They've seen it already. Like, do something new. Nobody cares, you know?
Well, and that's what I'm excited about, because I want people to help me curate my special. I've never done a special. And
Never?
Never.
Girl.
And I want people to tell me what bits or what type of things they want me to talk about, so that when I do it, it will be participatory. You'll be my collaborators. And that's why I'm refreshing my website, rhondahansome.com. You can become a member. I love my VIPs. And you can help me curate and develop the Rhonda Hansome experience, and I love that it's interactive. You can participate, and then I might even give you a little credit on screen. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Look at her, Rhonda, being so generous, darling. I'm like, fuck you. You're gonna hear what I have to say, and that's it. But then again, like I remember one of the times I opened for Dice out at Soul Joel's. This is a few years ago, and Joel's girlfriend was in the front row both nights, and she came up to me after the second show and she goes, I saw 2 different fucking shows. It was unbelievable. I've never seen that before. And I said, well, it's the same material. I go, but the audience is different. So it's kind of like the audience dictates where I go and what material I do or how I weave it in and out.
That's so fun.
It is fun. It's fun for me because then it doesn't get stale.
Yeah.
It's always something new, and I'm so excited. So that's why I'm always having fun. She goes, I'm so used to seeing comics going up, and you can see the typewriter with the words in their head going over, like the teleprompter. And she goes, it's just like they memorize it and they just talk at us. And I said, yeah, no, not me. I'm jumping in the pool.
The thing I love is when people come up to me and they'll give me a punchline from like 20 years ago.
Yep.
And I'm going, fuck, I can't even remember the premise. I can't remember the setup. What's the setup for that? And they're going, I love that. And they'll look at me like, yeah. And I'm going, because we have so much material.
I always tell people I've forgotten more jokes than I remember.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I remember somebody came up to me a few years ago and reminded me of my Aretha Franklin halftime Super Bowl show joke, and I'm like, oh, that was a killer joke. How did it go? And he goes, I don't remember, but it was funny. And I go, damn it, you're supposed to remember, because that was before cell phones. It was before cameras. Like at the Comedy Store, we weren't allowed to bring in cameras unless you kissed the ring and licked Mitzi's ass, because she didn't want anything being filmed inside that because it was sacred ground.
Yeah.
And
well, that's the thing now. We are losing the opportunity to refine our material. Some people don't know that we have to go up and have the jokes come out of our mouths, have the words come out of our mouths, to find things, to find where the audience reaction is, how we want to hit a certain word.
Yep.
And that's what I loved about the showcase clubs, you know, and back in the day, that's what you could do. That we would do like maybe 4 shows in one night, 3 shows in one night, going uptown, downtown, east side, west side, and then you hit that sweet spot on the joke, and it's like, all right.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like Friday night, I've been working on this new bit that I wrote like maybe a week week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And like I wrote it on the train out to Jersey City when I was doing Rich Kiyonko's room, the Laugh Tour Comedy Club.
I love him.
He's the best. And so I had 2 shows that night. I'm on the train and I came up with 2 bits. So I'm like, all right, and I'm going to try him. Let's go, because we're, you and I were at that point where we can just go up and do new shit and it's fine. Because we've developed our voice for so long and we have that muscle, that strength. So I went up and they both killed, but I couldn't figure out the ending. Like I was trying different endings. Even last Saturday, I had done the show and I did 2 different. I go, okay, you didn't like that one. How about this is the end? This is how I did it. And they loved it. And one girl goes, I like that ending better. I go, great. She's my writer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
She's getting credit for this.
10%.
And, yeah. And it's like 10% of 0 is 0, honey. And, but it was like, it's like I've been working on it. I'm like, okay, that's a good ending for it. So I'm going to keep that and hone it. And then I did it this past Friday, a couple nights ago. And I did it a little differently, and I swapped it, and I put an old joke punch on it as from my album Brutally Yours on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you stream. That was a bit on there, but I took the punch from that bit and put it on this because it goes and it works, and I'm like, oh. Hi.
That is an incredible feeling for a comic. That is just, there's nothing like it.
It was worth the price of admission, as I always say. That was worth the trip down to the East Village. It was like I got more than I needed from that night, just finding that sweet spot in that bit. Like my boyfriend will go, so how was it? I go, dude, I found the end. And I go, it was amazing. I go, that's all. I don't care about the money. I don't care about anything as long as I can find those sweet spots.
That's so interesting you say not caring about the money. Being an artist can put you in that spot. Money is important, I'll tell you. It's very important. But I right now am in that place as an artist where I'm doing your podcast, which I'm very excited about. But I did stand up with Lois Thompson at the Brooklyn Moon Cafe, and I'm also directing a mini musical right now that will be at the Tank on December 14th, 7 o'clock. The name of the mini musical is BlackBird Trilogy. And I also do storytelling a lot with Harmon Leon. And I feel like, and I also write political cartoons with a great illustrator. And those political cartoons are on Facebook and they're called Politunatics. And look for some merchandise around that because I need the money. But the thing is...
Oh, we all do.
But speaking of money, as an artist right now, I feel so fulfilled. I mean, sharing this space with you, doing stand-up, directing this mini musical is the songs are so powerful. Aww. Lindsey Wilson is a singer-songwriter, and we're part of the International Human Rights Festival at the Tank.
I love this.
It's at the Tank on West 36th Street on December
14th.
14th.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like it's just, I always get fulfilled. Like I love doing podcasts and I love.
There's no money involved.
0. I mean, I make money other ways on the road, with my private business that I do, and which is strength coach. I go to different places and train people privately. And so I work about 8 hours a week. But it gives me the flexibility to take off with Dice like I did for 3 weeks, or to go down on the road with Mark Riccadonna in Pennsylvania.
I love Mark.
Isn't he the greatest?
Mark is a cool guy.
He's one of the best human beings in stand-up comedy.
He's a mensch.
He's everything. We always say I'm his comedy wife and he's my comedy husband.
Good.
And Ange goes, will you take him away for a while? I love him and Ange.
You can go off you too, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I stalk you online. I go, fuck yeah, you do. I love it. But he's so funny, and we do like the Naughty and Nice, or tours, and play around like dad jokes and feel goods from Mark Riccadonna, and from Christy. She's just a piece of shit, It's just but it works. People like that is hilarious.
You are the prettiest piece of shit I've seen in a long time.
Honey, you could put lipstick on a gorilla, but the bitch is still a gorilla. Oh. You could put glitter on a turd, honey. It's just a glittery piece of shit.
But you wear it well.
But I own it. But I own who I am. I am, that's all the nooks and crannies and dirty bits. I love it. But it's, it's just knowing who you are, which makes this so much fun. And, the money, especially in the city, I laugh at people that try to still make money in the city clubs. Unless you're at the Cellar every night, you're not making any money.
One of these days, I'm going to break into the Cellar. I'm going to do it.
Well, that was the club that told me Paul Mooney wasn't a good enough reference. But that was 17, 18 years ago.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, the bitch is still there. So. And it wasn't Esty. It wasn't Esty. No, Esty knows who I am, but I don't think she knows what I do.
Yeah.
Well, she's crazy.
There are people like that even when we have the longevity in the industry that we do, who may not really know how strong we are, how powerful we are, how funny we are. They may have heard our name in passing and it didn't register, but screw them.
They're lost.
They're lost.
Because it's like, I'm working on some stuff that I want. If we can get the pilot filmed, I do have a list of people I want involved in the future episodes.
Oh,
Rhonda
great.
Hansome,
hello.
Because she fits the bill, because she's everything, darling. But yeah, so I'll let you know about that off, because it's like, it's still in the infant stages, but there's a lot of like, oh, we want that. Can you do that? So it's like, okay, let's find I've been calling venues to do it, and so far crickets. Because again, it's
persistence.
It's the new age, because I don't have that as many followers as they want you to have, because they think
follow her.
Yes,
follow her. Stalk her.
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky. Oh, I'm Great Gray 17 on Blue Sky, so follow me there.
I'm just Christy Miller on Blue Sky. My name was finally available. Finally! Took me 54 years to get my actual name available to me, you fucking assholes. Because when I was a kid in like junior high, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, there is still, it was then, but it's still going, is a Christian book series called the Christy Miller series, and it's spelt the same way.
How ironic.
When they Google it, hi Christians, you like this shit? Get a load of this, bitch. But it's so funny. So
I'm sad for you that and for myself, that so much relies on the followers. But this is what's happening now. This is really
it is what it is. So I'm just doing
test.
Yeah,
now.
But I'm because I haven't figured out the algorithm, whatever the fuck. I haven't figured it out yet. But until I do, I literally have taken the stress off of me. And just say, you know what? I'm going to put out content that I love and am proud of.
You've got to.
Because it makes me happy.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah. Also with Aging Magnificently. I'm doing that.
Love that.
Yeah. That's for no matter what your year, the number of your years, you always have to be aging magnificently, and that's part of the content also that I'm putting on my website. I mean, we're doing these similar things because we know who we are, and we have so much experience in so many areas. Yeah. Why not?
And what I love about you too is because there's a few of us. It's not many, which of women or just comics in general that are so secure with who they are that they don't mind when somebody else gets something.
I love that.
Because for me, I look at it as, oh, cool, she got that. That means there's an avenue for me, and there's an avenue for stuff like this.
Someone who helped me get to that place was Angela Scott, who I adore. She used to work the door at the Improv on West 44th Street. We actually studied acting together at the Negro Ensemble Company. We were in the same acting class, and I think she may not be actually active on the stage. I do see her all the time on social media, but her aura and her response to people's success was so positive and so warm that I just love that about her. And that's one of the things that I take from our friendship to really tamp down the jealousy, tamp down that green-eyed monster, because that if you're jealous, that means you don't know who you are.
Exactly. Yep, 100%. Because it's like, I'm not jealous of anybody. when we were young, because we're young, we don't know who we are. And if you're in your 20s and you think you know who you are, good luck to you. I'll meet you when you're 50, when we'll have a real conversation. Because I thought I knew everything in my 20s, and then my 30s said, I went, oh, kind of don't know everything, but this is cool. And then my 40s, I'm like, I don't even give a fuck if I don't know anything. And then at 50, I tell everybody, I don't give a fuck about anything, you bitch.
No fucks to give.
No, I'm sorry, I'm fresh out, darling. I gave my last one 20 years ago, darling. Excuse me, sorry, I'm out. Do you have any for sale? But I love when especially my people I know, and I know the grind, and I know how hard they're working, and and it pays off for them, I'm like, yes. It just gives me hope that there's still positivity in this world, and there's still room to grow. Like, it's not over for us. You know what I mean? Like, I love when anybody I know gets something, it makes me so happy. And I get excited about it. And, but whatever, and
it's energy. It's actually all energy.
And I don't understand the jealousy. And it's like, well, why don't you do something then, bitch?
Oh, I understand it, but it's not for me anymore. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help me grow. It doesn't make me a better human being.
It makes you degress.
It's negative energy.
Yeah. And nobody wants to be around that. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, bye.
But what I do want your people, and I know you do have a lot of people.
Yes,
I want your people.
I have the best fans, by the way. I just have to shout you guys out. You guys are diehard, badass motherfuckers, and I love you because you're around when nobody else is around. You're the fans that will help me move. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they help you move.
They're your foundation.
Yeah, and they're the best.
So when your fans are not listening to you, I want them to tune in to Hansome Monday when I'm with John Fugulsang on Sirius XM.
You have to. I love John.
Yeah, he's really such an extraordinary person.
Yeah,
and
so brilliant.
He knows a lot. And he's very self-effacing about it, between music, politics, and just culture in general, and religion,
My favorite is when he nails these Bible fake thumping bitches, because he knows that book better than anybody, and it just makes me die laughing. Yeah. I can't stop laughing because it's like, dude, they don't even know how mighty John Fugulsang's pimp hand is.
Well, that's his corner of the world because his parents were religious.
Yes.
They were
friars. His dad was a friar, wasn't he?
Yeah, and the mother was a nun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and
he's got it all covered. So, but tune in on Mondays.
Monday nights for Hansome Mondays.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you are here, and I love having you on, and you have to come back on again.
I would love
anything you want to promote anytime. Just call me, be like, bitch, can I do your podcast? Come on over, girl. We got you. I don't mind. I like this. Like a couple of my friends, a couple comics have already done it twice.
Oh,
and I'm like, don't be shy. Like, call me. Like, hey, I got this thing coming out. Can we promote? Come on.
Thank you so much.
Just call me. Shoot me a text. I don't care. Pigeon carrier. I don't give a fuck. With this one, it was a pigeon.
But your people can go to rhondahansome.com and sign up for a membership, or either just to get my newsletter.
Yep.
And when I have something going on, I'll be back here.
That's right.
I'll be back.
But so I love you for being here. Thank you for being here. And I always love to wrap up the show with my segment called Two Questions. Oh, I know it goes quick, doesn't it?
Great.
It's a fast show. And 2 questions. It is time for 2 questions, Rhonda Hansome. And question number 1 is...
Number 1?
Is there a bit a comic has written that made you go, God damn it, that's brilliant. I wish I had written that. And what was it?
I have to tell you...
I have a million of them, by the
way. I do have to tell you, it's not necessarily a bit. It's a comic that I'm new to. He's been around for a while, but I've just found out about Josh. Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson is delicious.
Is just incredible, and I can listen to him for hours, and I'm going, what I love about it, it's so simple. He just does very simple stuff, and the next thing you know, you are laughing hilariously from his point of view. So short answer is anything that Josh
Johnson is so brilliant, and he's great on The Daily Show, and he's so smart and adorable. Like, I just want to put him in my pocket and carry him around like a little dolly. He's just the cutest kid. Like, I love fucking way ahead of his time. But he's so great.
Anything
Josh does,
he's brilliant.
Because I'm not a political person. It's not my thing. Off camera I am, but off stage I am, but not on stage. It's like my spa day. Like it's a spa day for me.
But Josh does human interest and politics.
He does everything.
But he's so smooth with it and so unpretentious. You just gotta love him.
Yeah, that's one thing I am jealous of him, of his skill, is how to take politics and make it so simple and so like even playing field. It's amazing how it's not so. There's a lot of political.
He walks a fine line with it.
But there's no emotion. It's no emotion, and that's the key. There's no emotion.
It's a fine line.
He's just reporting almost, or observing. He's not. There's no emotional direction.
Josh, if I had a uterus, I'd want to have your baby.
I still have my uterus, and I don't want to have your baby because I'm 54. But I wish you were my child. How about that? But I love that, and I know I have a million jokes like that. And question number 2. We are comics, and we love to crack each other up in the green room or in the road gigs out there or on the plane or wherever we're going. And also because I opened for Paul Mooney for many years, and he would close his shows with street jokes, but he would Mooneyize them and just crush, like you'd put a little Mooney twist to it and just murder the entire place, like almost standing ovation. So my question to you is, what is your go-to street joke?
What is a street joke? What is that?
What is wrong with everybody? Street jokes, like internet jokes, dad jokes.
Well, my favorite, when I think of that, is when I get to feel a little way when someone comes up to me and I say I'm a comedian. You don't look like a comedian. Tell me a joke. Usually a male. I say, oh, yeah. My favorite joke? Look down at your crotch. And that's the funniest thing I can say.
But you don't know, like a priest and a rabbi walk into something? You don't know any of those kind of jokes?
I love, see, to me, that's old school, which is so fantastic. I love when Moms Mabley would say, if you can't say something good about a person, don't say anything at all. Well, he's dead. Good.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And I had the privilege.
Betty Davis used to say that too.
Presenting Moms Mabley, and we're working on bringing her back here in New York City. So stay tuned for Moms.
Moms Mabley is everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. All right, Rhonda Hansome, thank you for being on the show. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media and plug your website again. All of that.
RhondaHansome.com. I am on Facebook at Rhonda Hansome. That's like a handsome man without the D. Make up your own dick joke. I am also on
She
Twitter.
Doesn't have a D, darling. She's female.
I'm on Twitter, which some people call X, and Great Gray 17 on Blue Sky. And if you really want to know what's going on with me, you go to Tumblr, but I don't ever send anyone there. That's only for people who really want to know what's going on.
Oh, that's the porn shit, right? Fuck yeah, Rhonda. I knew it. She doesn't have a D, but she does on Tumblr. She's getting all the D, darling. And remember, don't forget to follow us here at Old School New School Comedy Podcast on Instagram at Old School New School Comedy. And you can also follow me as well at Christy Miller Comedy everywhere. And, please subscribe to the show on Apple and Spotify. Follow us on YouTube. Like us. Leave comments. Leave your favorite dad jokes, internet jokes.
Share this podcast.
Well, you just took the last line. Fucking cunt. And last but not least, don't forget to share the show. We love you. See you next week.